The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Mary Magdalene stayed outside the tomb weeping, and as she wept, she bent over into the tomb and saw two angels were sitting there, one at the head and one at the feet, where the body of Jesus had been. And they said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" She said to them, "They have taken my Lord, and I don't know where they laid him." When she had said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but she did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you looking for?" She thought it was the gardener, and she said to him, "Sir, if you carried away, tell me where you laid him, and I will take him." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned and said to him in Hebrew, "Rabboni," which means teacher. Jesus said to her, "Stop holding on to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father. But go to my brothers and tell them, I'm going to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." Mary went and announced to the disciples, "I have seen the Lord," and then reported what he had told her. The Gospel of the Lord. Throughout Jesus' 3 years of ministry, he taught, he preached about what was going to happen. He told them that the Son of Man would be in the ground for 3 days and then rise from the dead. At one point he said, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will rebuild it." Of course, he was talking about the temple of his body. He had been telling them what was going to happen. In fact, if you look at the revelation of the Hebrew Scripture through the Old Testament, that revelation points to what was going to happen. He told it to them, but yet, when the time came, they were sad. Mary Magdalene today is at the tomb, and she's weeping bitterly, it says. She's really heartbroken because Jesus was crucified. And she went to look for him, and she saw who she thought was the gardener. And she said, "Where did you put him?" The interesting thing about this is she didn't recognize him because it was his glorified body. I think my glorified body is going to have hair, but I'm not sure. But it was his glorified, his resurrected, his perfected body, and she didn't recognize him. He said to her, "Mary." That's all he said. Mary. And she knew his voice. She knew his voice. And immediately when she heard that, she knew it was Jesus. All he had to say was, "Mary." And she knew it was him. Jesus spoke to her by her name, and he does that for all of us. Do we hear him when he calls our name? Are we too busy doing other things that we don't hear him? He calls our name. He says to each one of us by name, Doug, Mike, Joanne, Lottie. He says it to her in German, but Lottie. He calls each of us by our name. He seeks us out. As he sought Mary, he seeks each one of us out. He asked the disciples to go to Galilee, about 100 miles away. And then he went up there and he sought them out. He sought them out as a group. He sought them out individually. As he has done, as we read today in the gospel, he does for us. He seeks us out wherever we are. I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty cool. How do we respond? How do we respond? Mary Magdalene responded by grabbing him and going, "Oh, it's you, it's you." Do we respond to the Lord with that same joy, that same enthusiasm?